Good morning, everyone, and welcome to today's edition of Contracting Chatter. I am your host, Luciana Turner. How are you doing? You know what? You know how we do it by now. Grab your business bestie, grab your business partner, grab that person that you're doing business with because we don't believe in growing alone. Get your contractor's notebook out because I have some things to talk about today. I'm going to give everybody a second to know I am live and we are ready to talk about contracting and business. So while we're doing that, I'm going live over here on Tickamatalk. And I am live. Hey everybody, good morning, good morning. Good morning everyone. How are we doing? I just told my favorite TikTok people, or sorry, my LinkedIn and everybody else. We're welcoming TikTok to the platform. How are everybody doing this morning? And you know, share the live. We know how this thing goes. We don't believe in growing alone over here. We believe in sharing the information. We believe in sharing content. So what we do is we make our business besties aware that we're receiving good information, good training. We pull out our contractor's notebook, which is coming out soon, and we go for it. So, this morning's topic is this morning's topic is a little different. Now, I have multiple coaches, and each coach teaches or trains me or mentors me in different areas of my business. If you don't have a coach, you need to get one. And as you grow in business, you'll realize you need more than one coach. I have a marketing coach. She's awesome. I have a mindset coach. She's awesome. I am a consultant in government contracting and compliance. I'm awesome. I can't be awesome at what I do unless I am being coached myself. Therefore, this is my wealth coach. You know what? I'm not even sure if that's what she calls herself, but she's a wealth coach. And she talked about something I've talked about on my platform, but you know what? I'm going to bring it out before I go into my main topic of the day. And she didn't bring it out in this manner, but this is how I'm bringing it to you guys. She talked about the phrase leaving money on the table. Now, most of us have heard that phrase. A lot of us have repeated that phrase because we have heard that phrase being used by different business coaches, acumen, whatever. And it's a phrase that has been picked up, or vernacular that has been picked up and quite frankly used in error. She said that she's hosting a training and she was deep diving into the use of that phrase because she was going to use it to prove a point in the training. I'm looking for my earrings. Prove a point in the training. And what she discovered in doing the research is we've been applying that phrase incorrectly. I'm going to say that again. We have been applying that phrase incorrectly. Leaving money on the table is actually a phrase that means that it's an undesirable business venture. I'm going to say that again. Leaving money on the table is in reference to undesirable business ventures. So many of us thought that phrase was in reference to something desirable. So many of us thought that phrase was in reference to something that should be attained. And quite frankly, it's a phrase that we shouldn't be using. It's a phrase that means it's something we should be avoiding. And it made me think there are a lot of phrases in this great business world. There's just a lot of phrases, period, point blank, in the discussion that are being used that, quite frankly, a lot of people don't even have the hold on TikTok. I'm sorry, I was trying to share the link somewhere. Um, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I was sharing my link somewhere. I remembered. Anywho, a lot of times we're using phrases in life and in business. We don't have a clue or concept what they really mean or where they come from, and we're applying them incorrectly. So, and because we're applying them incorrectly, we're doing a lot of damage mentally, psychologically, and in our businesses. So, let me repeat that again. My business coach was talking about the phrase leaving money on the table. And as she did her research, she discovered that phrase is actually a business phrase that means it's a bad business deal. Is actually something you don't want to do and you really want to leave the money on the table. It's something that you want to do. You want to leave money, you want to leave that money on the table because it's a bad deal. So I'm also taking a class, and this is for spiritual development, winning the war in my mind. And we were in going through that book and applying biblical principles to that book. I thought about that phrase again and how the improper application of phrases and thoughts plays havoc on our mindsets and how we approach everything, business, life, everything. And somebody is listening to me saying, how does this apply to business? I'm getting ready to tell you. If you have a defeated attitude, if you have an undeserving or unworthy attitude, if you have a belief that just enough is enough, it affects how you conduct business. It affects how you negotiate. It affects how you show up. It affects everything. It affects how you come to the table. So you have to address all of these things. You have to affect your spiritual self. You have to um, address your mental self. You have to address your emotional self. Because if you fly off at the handle at a business during a business meeting, no. If you come to a business meeting and you don't have the bandwidth to hear what is being said and not what you think is being said, it affects how your business can grow. You have to be able to regulate your emotions, and you have to be able to regulate how you handle adversity. And if you can't, it affects how your business grows. Nobody is responsible for monitoring your emotions. That is a you thing. So as I'm sitting in that class last night, and I'm sitting in the master class yesterday, and I was just thinking about all these things and how we misapply phrases, and then you have the 80% failure rate in businesses, and then I'm gonna add this onto it. We've all heard that phrase. 80% of businesses fail within the first year. I'm gonna go here. Do you not know that of the businesses that make it past year one, 90% of those businesses fail by year five? I'm going to say that again. I had to give a pause there because I want this to seep in. I want this to soak in. I want this to saturate. We all are familiar with the stat that 80% of businesses fail within a year. But how many are familiar with the stat that of those businesses that make it past the 1 year mark? I believe it's 90% of those businesses fail by year five. And one of the main reasons they fail is lack of investment and the desire of the founder of the business to do everything in the business. Those are the two key reasons that were cited for failure of the business. This is a little different because this is not the market that I normally speak to on Chatter, but I decided to go this week. Let's just call it an unctioning. So I'm going to follow the unctioning. I was on a training, and I've been in trainings. Like yesterday I was on like four or five trainings yesterday alone. So I reference a lot of trainings. This is training season for me. I was on another training yesterday, and that trainer cited a study that the Harvard Business Review did. It takes $85,000 to successfully build a business. $85,000 over the course of 3 years to successfully build a business. And it goes back to something I said in my book, Keys to Government Contracting. Are you committed to the commitment, or are you committed to the idea of commitment? A lot of people, when it comes down to money, people are always talking about, and I noticed it in the chat box. When she was talking, it was a speaker's training that I was. Well, it wasn't a speaker's training. It was a audience training. It was a speaker's training. It was talking about speaking to the right audience. So, and one of the comments in the chat box was um, because the trainer was talking about, I call it pay to play. A lot of times when you're speaking, you pay to get on stages. And one of the comments was, I was told all of those pay to play options are scams. Every business endeavor is not a scam. You have to pay for a lot of opportunities. You pay to get in the rooms. You pay to go to conferences. And all conferences are $75. All conferences are $100. Sometimes I never forget the first conference I went to. I paid $1,400 to go to that conference. And guess what? That was in 2014. To I actually reached into the network to somebody I met at that conference and was able to leverage that relationship to open a door I couldn't open on my own. It's an investment. And that's how you have to begin to think. Investment. Um, excuse me. People are in love with the concept of opening business. I hear it on TikTok a lot, and a lot of TikTok rooms, and I hear it on a lot of platforms. People are pushing the concept, pushing the notion of starting your own business, being your own boss. Eh, but they're not having a complete conversation. There's more to it than that. You are a separate entity from your business, especially if you're starting a nonprofit. Hello. That is a whole conversation in and of itself. That is a conversation that I'm recording a podcast episode tomorrow, and with this great guy. He's on TikTok. I'm not sure what other social media platforms he's on. Dwayne Mackey is awesome. We're going to talk about that in business, the business structure foundation. He is awesome. I'm also going to further that conversation at my event in September. It because we forget we are not our businesses. Our business is a wholly separate entity from us as the founders. That's the CEO mindset. The CEO mindset says we are the founders of ABC company. And as the founders, we are directing the operations. We have to change our language. We have to change it. But because we're adapting and utilizing language and phrases and things that we thought we understood incorrectly, it is affecting how we move and operate in our business. Another term, small business. Now, Mr. Mack broke this down in the Women of Virtue book club meeting, and he did an amazing job, and he talks about it in his live on TikTok. I'm not sure if he's on any other social media platform. I just know he goes live on TikTok. The term small business. Now, SBA actually uses small business differently than the way the common person uses small business. And because of that difference, people actually relegate themselves or place themselves in a mindset that is detrimental to business growth and how they show up. SBA uses the term small business in reference to revenue, not size and capability. And it's strictly in reference to NACE codes. Revenue and NACE codes is how SBA uses small business. In the general community, small business is referencing the size of your business, as in I'm a mom and pop shop. Are you using terminology you're not familiar with, and is it affecting your mindset and how you show up in your business? Now, as I said, I normally do not do this on this platform, but I felt this was an important conversation to have because it's affecting how people show up and show out in their business, especially if you're becoming a government contractor. This obsession with certifications, and I'm your anti certification girl, honey. The only certification I will tell my clients to go whole hog out for is the 8A. The other ones, you can become a government contractor and I can take you into the top 20 in government contracting, and you can not get any of the other certifications other than the 8A certification. Period, point blank. Because the other ones require you to think of the business in terms of you. You are you, your business is separate from you. And that is how your business should be structured. That's how you should think of your business. You sit in the seat of the CEO of your business. You brand your business, you sell your business. Your business operates, and you, as the founder and the director and the CEO, oversee its operations. And once you flip the switch, then you understand that your business needs a budget. Because until you tell the money in your business where to go, your money is gone. You have to direct it, you have to instruct it, you have to ensure that your business at all times is strategically viable. You walk into government contracting as a power partner. In fact, that's the name of my next book, How to Become a Power Partner in Government Contracting. And somebody may have issue with this mindset shift, but that's because they're operating under a different mindset. My mindset is my business, the business I founded, is a business entity that can partner with anybody and operate in the fullness and excellence that it is. I do not embrace any nomenclature that wishes to relegate it to obscurity and insignificance. That's a mindset shift that you need to embrace. And until you embrace it, you will always show up small in your business. How you think about your business, how you think, period, affects your business. I have a friend, she's a great leadership coach. Um, she's, matter of fact, she's one of the interviewees in my books. And I was re-listening to one of the things she said during the interview, and it just spoke in its richness and its fullness. And she talked about hiring a team. And one of the things she said is that your team should know more than you. I know somebody said, no, I need to know everything. Do you not know? Ford, automaker Ford, could not read. Now I'm not saying you should adopt this, but I'm using this as an example. Ford, the automaker, could not read. Do you not know that man hired people? He had one man who read the Washington Post. He had one man who read the New York Times. He had one man who read different, the different newspapers. Their sole jobs were to read the newspapers and give him a briefing. He created Ford Automotive. He created, well, he implemented the assembly line. He had enough sense to do that. Now we can get into the history of how he stole patents and the XYZ ABC, but that's another story for another day. He couldn't read and he didn't graduate school, but he had the ability because he had the mindset and the skills not to allow that to make a difference. James Earl Jones, a man that we've known to have the most regal speaking voice of a generation. For those of you who are younger, he is actually the voice of Darth Vader, the original Darth Vader. Most people don't know that he had a stutter and a stammer. He overcame it. Those are just two examples. Ray Charles was born blind, and that man played the piano. And he learned to play the piano when he was blind. He didn't learn to play as a sighted man and then became blind. He learned to play as a blind man. That's a mindset. And all of this ties into developing and building businesses. You do and become what you say you can become. And one of the key things, and I'm going to close out this morning session with this. One of the key things that you need to do, and this is a piece of advice, had I taken it when I started my business, I would have gotten further faster. You have to surround yourself with people who are doing what you're doing. I'm not telling you to eliminate people. What I'm telling you is to get in a community with people doing what you're doing. You have your life friends. Those are the people, and those are your family, and those are your friends. They are not people you discuss business problems with, because what they do is they want to protect you, or they don't see what you see. They're not the people you go to when there's problems in your business, because they will do one of two things. They, one, want to protect you. So when your business is having problems, the first thing they're going to tell you to do is get a job. Now you may need to get a job, but that's not what they're telling you. They're telling you to pack it up and get a job. So you need to join a community of business-minded people who are on the journey you are on. I wish I had did that sooner in my business journey, because some of the people, well-meaning, but they were giving me terrible advice, and it played with my mindset around my business, because they meant well, but they were telling me some dumb stuff. And some of them, I'm realizing they didn't even mean well, because they were jealous that I was leaving them to become something else. And and that was just that's a whole nother conversation for a whole nother day. Secondly, I want you to get into the mindset of investing. Now, invest at the level that you seek a return. And when I first heard that phrase, I was like, what in the world do they mean? And as I began investing in myself, I understood what they meant. What that phrase means simply is this: the universal truth, or the general truth, and there are exceptions to this rule. There are exceptions to this rule. Generally, a lot of the deal makers and the money makers are not found in $75, $25 loans, especially if you're looking to do government contracting. What I've found to be true, especially if you're trying to be a government contractor, as you come into the room, say hello. You know how we was raised. You speak to everybody as you come into the room, so just say hello as you come in. Um, Especially if you're trying to do government contracting, the decision makers. These are the people that say yes or no are typically not found in $75, $95 rooms. Now, I'm not telling you to take out a mortgage to attend conferences, events. I'm not telling you to do any of those silly things. No. You will not hear me tell you any of that because I do not teach you to be irresponsible. But what I am telling you is the people who make decisions about contracts, the people who make decisions about who to form partnership with, tend to be in the rooms that are the $900 rooms, the $1,400 rooms, the $500 rooms. And they tend to be in those rooms because those are the rooms you just have to read the agenda for that event. And you have to say what is being discussed in those rooms. You have to see what is that event targeting, and then say who am I targeting, and try to be in those rooms. Government contracting events that you want to be in, where the movers and shakers and the decision makers are. I am telling you straight off the bat, most of the events that the decision makers are at, you're not going to find them in those freebie rooms. And when I first started my business, I attended every free event there was. I'm not telling you there's not value in those rooms. There is. I'm not because I still attend those events. There's value in those rooms. But if you want to meet the decision maker, I mean the person who decides, yes, we're gonna get into a contract with this person. Yes, we're going to form a joint venture with that person. They don't tend to be in those freebie rooms. They send their representatives. So you're adding an extra layer or an extra step if that is all you're doing. You have to look to invest. Join masterminds. I never forget I was sitting in this I used to attend this one before I went to work. They used to meet up every Thursday morning at 6:30 or 7 o'clock in the morning, and I was the only new business in the room. Everybody else had been in business for 10 years. I mean, these people had been sued. They've had staff and everything else. But I sat in that room and I absorbed the information. And the facilitator, one time, he pulled me to the side and he asked me, he said, "Are you aware that you know, these meetings are for businesses of this level?" Now, I wasn't fully aware of it at the time, but I was like, I wasn't aware of it, but I attended the meetings anyway because there were a certain number of open slots to businesses of my nature, just starting out, but wanted to attend. And I attended those meetings. That man mentored me outside of that meeting when it came to marketing. And he kept niching me down, and he was like, and I thought he was wrong with what he was telling me because I was like, but the people that I'm talking to will understand my words. And it was my ego that wouldn't allow me to accept what he was telling me. And you know what? I'm gonna go back and find him, and I have to tell him because I still have his business card. I have to tell him it was my ego that wasn't accepting the coaching he was giving me because I thought I knew more than I knew. And then I'm going to close out this morning session with this: be coachable. Don't let what you think you know keep you from learning. I'm going to say that again. Don't allow what you think you know keep you from learning. Often we exclude ourselves from valuable learning, from valuable opportunity, because we believe we know more than we know. And it's a terrible thing. And with that, later on today, I'm going to post an assessment of how government contractors or how businesses can take advantage of President Biden's initiative or new initiative on education. It's headed by his wife, Dr. Jill Biden. Um, I had said when the State of the Union address came out, I was going to now analyze it from a business perspective. I don't do political punditing. There's a whole lot of that running around here. You don't need another one. That's not what I do. I analyzed the State of the Union address from a purely business perspective. So I've already analyzed the TikTok ban. If you haven't seen that, I'll repost it. I posted a video. I'll do a written analysis on that and I'll post that as well. And I will do the second post on how businesses can position themselves to take advantage of the what he was talking about, education. I'm also going to do one on humanitarian business, humanitarian aid, humanitarian businesses. A lot of companies have this humanitarian arm to it. And I'm going to talk about that as well. It won't be today. I might touch on it tomorrow. Tomorrow, like I said, I'm recording some episodes for my podcast. I released my podcast schedule. So the next episode that's coming out next Friday is 3 types of contractors. And I really think everybody should take a listen to it. It's some readily accessible information in it. It's great. And then the following 2 episodes, because it's a two-parter, is on proposal development and proposal compliance. So, my podcast is called Contractor Conversations, and it can be found on Spotify, iHeartRadio, YouTube podcast if you wish to watch the video. And wherever podcasts are heard, I'm streaming on like 7 different platforms. I offer clarity sessions. They're not free. This is an investment. It's an investment in your future. So on TikTok, go to my bio. There's a link in the bio that'll take you to a link where you can book a clarity session. On my other platforms, scan the QR code. You can go to the description and click the link in the description and book a clarity session. You'll come away from that session with an idea and a plan for how to proceed with whatever it is you're trying to pursue when it comes to your business and or government contracting. I'm releasing today a schedule of classes. The next class I have coming out is Stages of Government Contracting. I'm doing a master class on the value of government contracting. And then I'm doing a contracting fundamentals. It's not the name of the class. I've renamed the class, which is why I can't think of it. And then I'm having a class called Decoding the RFP. I have an event in September, contractors contracting and business intensive. 3 days. You really want to be there. We're talking about business credit. We're talking about business structure. We're talking about protecting your business. We're talking about building business strategy. We're talking about actually the meat of government contracting. Day two, we're actually talking about government contracting. So if you're not a government contractor, but you're interested, you want to know what this thing is, I advise you to come. If you offer a service to government contractors, I advise you to come. There are sponsorship opportunities available. There are vending tables available. Those of you on TikTok, just go to my link tree. You'll be able to go. VIP have the option available to them of an additional day where there's additional conversation and implementation lab that's only available to the VIP. Continental breakfast and lunch is included each day of the event in your ticket price. So the only thing that you'll be paying for in addition to the ticket is your hotel. So with that, join me tomorrow morning at 7:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for another edition of Contracting Chatter. It's normally only 30 minutes. I really went over my time this morning, but I just felt called to really go into that, what we discussed this morning. So I'm Luciana Turner, your host of Contracting Chatter. I hope to see you tomorrow morning. Have an amazing, amazing day. And keep something in mind that I always say as a reminder to everybody. A stressed mind cannot create. So when you find yourself and you can't solve a problem, just walk away from it. Give yourself time to decompress, and you will find the solution to your problem in the peace. All